Welcome back to Nuclear News. We're setting up for a truly disruptive, massive upward spike in the price of uranium if this week plays out as expected. If not this week, the next few weeks, because there are fireworks setting up. Let's start with price action. Sprott Uranium Miners ETF up 51% so far this year. This is the price of uranium, absolutely melting up, right? It hit over like $85 this week, right? Why is this happening and will it continue? Well, Russia uranium supplier warns US clients to brace for export ban. A Russian state-owned uranium company is warning American customers that the Kremlin may preemptively bar exports of its nuclear fuel to the US if lawmakers in Washington pass legislation prohibiting imports starting in 2028. According to people familiar with the matter, which means the supply crunch would come way sooner than 2028, the US, which is desperate for uranium, again, here's a screenshot showing US mine production at practically nothing. I showed you last week how in 2023, still nothing. The US is desperate for uranium, so they're literally about to cause the supply crunch to accelerate. Congress passes bill requiring US to buy domestic nuclear fuel. So now the pressure is on the president. The US will be required to acquire tons of domestic nuclear reactor fuel under a provision included in the Defense Authorization Bill passed by Congress. So a massive gold rush for uranium in the US as prices rise. The bill, approved earlier this week by the Senate, now needs President Joe Biden's signature. So we're setting up for a massive acceleration to the slow motion supply crunch that we've been covering for over 2 years at this point, right? Uranium is finally running hot and miners can't keep up. Miners are struggling to get enough uranium out of the ground. That is helping to push the prices of the nuclear fuel to nearly 16-year highs, right? This is exactly what we've been talking about. Cameco, one of the world's biggest producers, recently said it may need to buy more uranium before the end of this year to meet obligations to customers after suffering setbacks at key mines. They're trying to buy up the uranium that everyone else is trying to chase right now, and prices are skyrocketing. Production from Niger, following a military coup in July, and Kazakhstan have also fallen. So world supplies are shrinking. Demand is exponentially moving up. And in the short term, the very near term, it's about to exponentially move up because of the geopolitics, right? Absolutely massive. Now let's talk about, like we always talk about, the new developments to global demand. Every single week, the demand curve for uranium, the future projected uranium demand increases ever so slightly. And honestly, normally it's exponential, right? COP28 agreement officially recognizes nuclear fuel. The 28th UN Climate Change Conferences of the parties has ended in Dubai with a global stocktake, unanimously agreed by all parties, calling for it transitioning away from fossil fuels and an acceleration of zero and low emission technologies, including nuclear. They were massively bullish at last year's COP28, and they're massively bullish at this year's COP28. What does this mean? They're literally telling people what the future of energy is going to be, right? So demand expected to increase. All countries, the most influential organizations in the world, are going to push this technology, right? It doesn't get more bullish than that long term. In the meantime, on the sidelines, the United Emirates signed two memorandum of understandings with China National Nuclear Corporation, one with the aim to collaborate on identifying potential development and co-investment opportunities for new international nuclear energy plants. They're talking about investing, pumping billions of dollars more into this infrastructure. New Brunswick releases energy strategy with SMR focus. The strategy outlining how the province aims to transition to clean energy calls for the addition of 600 megawatts of capacity at the Point Lepreau nuclear generation station by 2035, doubling New Brunswick's current nuclear capacity, right? Doubling the demand of this one region. One region. Urenco to expand capacity at Dutch facility. Uranium enrichment service provider Urenco has announced plans to increase capacity of its plant in the Netherlands by 15% in response to new commitments from customers, right? Customers need uranium. They're expanding the capacity to provide it, especially given what's going on with Russia. American Nuclear Society applauds California PUC decision to extend life of Diablo Canyon 5 more years. Again, extend out that demand curve, increase it by a little bit more from that one plant. And then this is massive, right? This increases the demand curve even more. South Africa to begin new nuclear procurement as the second unit at Coburg Nuclear Power Plant goes offline for an extended maintenance outage. South Africa's Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has confirmed it will go ahead with the procurement 2,500 megawatts of new nuclear capacity / demand with plans to issue requests for proposals by March 2024. They're increasing, boosting their demand. And obviously in the U.S., brand new technology. U.S. approves new kind of nuclear reactor for first time in 50 years. U.S. hasn't authorized a new kind of reactor in half a century. Kairos's scalable technology uses molten salt as coolant. So they're scaling up demand, right? Supply has to be scaled up. And we all know what's going on with supply. Then we have this. What is the most bullish growth technology on planet Earth right now? It's artificial intelligence. Well, Microsoft targets nuclear to power AI operations. The tech company aims to expedite the nuclear regulatory process using AI. This is on December 12th. The Wall Street Journal is reporting this. So what is a bet on artificial intelligence growth? Nuclear power, right? So not only is there massive demand just for the need for clean power, but artificial intelligence, which isn't sustainable without nuclear, clearly, is going to be run by nuclear, just increasing the exponential growth for the demand of nuclear fuel / uranium. Nothing more scarce, nothing more desirable than uranium at this point, as far as energy goes. And then just looking out even further into the future, Westinghouse, Northrop Grumman, and Astrobotic awarded U.S. Air Force contract to power satellites with nuclear energy. What is a growth industry? The space transportation. So uranium will power artificial intelligence and space exploration. Does not get more bullish than that for the long term. And we all know what's going on in the short term. Massive geopolitical fireworks. So we're just going to have to stay on top of this burgeoning nuclear renaissance.